For number 17, for finding the value of a variable in the kite, actually both of these angles here are x. They're both congruent. And so it's a quadrilateral, so it has to add up to 360. So I would just say 2x plus 23 and 77, which make 100, equals 360. And if I divide by 2, looks like we would get 130 degrees. Okay, so each one of those x's is 130. In part B, diagonals in a kite equal 90 degrees or perpendicular. Okay, so this right here would be 90. 90 minus 34 is 56, and x is 14. In number 18, we know that ABCD is a kite. Find the following. So BC is congruent to CD. They're both 12. Angle 1 I can find after angle 2. So angle 2 and all of these angles here are 90 degrees. And if that's 90, let's just create a triangle right there. So if I add the 52 and the 90, and subtract from 180, we would get 38 degrees. Okay. Number 19 says, which reason can be used to conclude that DFGH is a parallelogram if DG is congruent to FH and DF is congruent to GH? There are two pairs of congruent opposite sides. The diagonals bisect each other. Well, in part B, there was nothing in this problem about diagonals yet, so it can't be B. There are two pairs of congruent opposite angles. Again, there was nothing talked about angles, so that can't be it. In D, there are two pairs of opposite parallel sides. Well, I do know that in a parallelogram we have opposite sides, but it has nothing mentioned about parallel sides yet. It does, however, talk about congruent opposite sides. These are opposite, they are congruent, it's listed there. So this is A. In number 20, you can see that right here there are arrows showing opposite parallel sides. Okay, so we've got one opposite parallel side. It says if AB is congruent to CD, which reason can you use to conclude that ABCD is a parallelogram? There are two pairs of congruent opposite sides, opposite angles. Nope, no mention of angles. There are one pair of congruent and parallel sides. Yes, we know that these are congruent and we know they're parallel. So it has to be B. Okay, and then the last three problems, it says, which quadrilaterals always have diagonals that are congruent? So first we would say square, rectangles, and isosceles, trapezoids. Okay. In 22, it says, which quadrilaterals always have diagonals that are perpendicular? So if I drew a diagonal in these two particular polygons, quadrilaterals, they would have 90-degree angles. And that would be a rhombus and a square. Okay. And then lastly, 23, which quadrilaterals always have consecutive angles that are supplementary? And so the first one we learned was parallelogram. In part B, a rhombus. For letter C, the other one was a rectangle. And lastly, a square.